Thank you. How is everyone today? I hope we're all doing well. I just really appreciate the opportunity to come here and speak with you on behalf of Operation 300 and the Vaughn family. A little bit about Operation 300. I'm just going to give you a brief overview. The video was pretty comprehensive. But out of that tragedy that occurred in that helicopter crash, out of that has come a beautiful program to help these kids. Operation 300, their mission, the heart of Operation 300, is to take care of Gold Star families and honor the sacrifice that's been made by family members in service to our country. Op 300's founding program is the Gold Star Kids Camps. The weekend-long adventure camp provides an opportunity to participate in activities that embody the spirit of adventure that characterize the lives of their absent parent while fostering a culture of courage, strength, freedom, endurance, honor, and a godly morality that's been embodied by fearless patriots throughout the history of our American Republic. Op 300 is continually looking to expand opportunities to care for those families that have given their best to protect our country's freedom. That's our mission up in Op 300. I love in the video, Billy described Aaron as he loved God, he loved family, and he loved country. And you were talking about legacy. That's a legacy I would like to have. I'd like to leave it better than I found it. I want my kids to pick up that baton and keep going and produce something even more than I was able to. But to be spoken of with that, I think all of us would be proud of that. A little bit about me. I'm a husband and a father. I've been married 30 years. I have 3 wonderful kids, a 29-year-old son. Can't believe I'm saying that. 27-year-old and a 22-year-old little girl. I still think she's my little girl. Both of my boys are married and are out of the house, which has been an amazing experience to say the least. I don't know if we're all prepared for that day, but get ready for it if you haven't already had it happen. With them being married, I'm lucky enough to have some grandkids. I've got 2 that are on the way, 2 little girls I've just found out in the next couple months they're due. But I have a 2-year-old grandson that I'm lucky enough to have as my namesake, and I get to see him almost every day. They live right around the corner. I've worked in law enforcement for the last 30 years, 29 and a half years. Most of that was spent in K-9, and the latter portion now, 23 years of that was in K-9. The latter portion now I'm in the Detective Bureau working in that capacity. I met the Vaughn family several years before that helicopter crash, and they were attending church. We both are people of faith. We attended church together, and we had developed a good relationship through church activities and different things. But shortly after that, at some point, after the helicopter crash, at some point when they had made the decision to start up the camps, they had asked me if I would help with the shooting range activities for the kids. And I was, because obviously I think just my law enforcement background, maybe it was an easy fit. So I ran with it, and I've been lucky enough to be at every camp since then. It's been a real joy working on the range. We have a whole bunch of different activities the camp does. They talked about the sailing, horseback riding, flying, diving, swimming, go-kart racing. We do archery, all of these events. And the purpose of that is in the hopes that we're doing some activities with these kids that are something like their father would have done. In that absence that's left behind, who is? And not everybody has a huge family unit, somebody that's able to step in there and start doing that, mentoring these kids. So we're able to, and it's a really good experience. It's throughout the weekend. All these camps are structured from the ground up to promote meaningful interactions between mentors and kids. The camps, we do about six a year-ish. About 35 campers show up at each of those. But in addition to those 35 campers, they're all flown in with moms. So we have all these moms that show up as well. It's a great experience for them as well. On the first day of camp, we pick them all up, take them out to the campsite. Moms get to see the camp, meet with mentors, see the environment they're going to be in. They've already been communicating with mentors before they show up that day, but this is their time to meet them face to face, see who they're leaving their kids with for the weekend. And then after that, we have a barbecue dinner, and we take them all back to the hotel. The kids stay, moms go back to the hotel, and they just have a great time. The kids go off to their activities. The moms, the following day on Saturday, my wife usually helps out with them having a luncheon that day. They all spend time together. And what's really great is the community all being together. These are individuals as Gold Star families. You can only imagine. You don't know unless you know, unless you're one of them. And the opportunity to sit with others who have had similar life experience and understand where they're at. And it's rather cathartic. You have all these parents, all these kids, they're at different stages of when they've experienced this tragedy of losing a parent. So there's those with the ability to help others walk through areas of life that they've already experienced, and it's giving back to each other. But when they're in this community together, they're coming out of it like we're brothers and sisters, we're cousins. They refer to themselves in a familial way. And at the point towards the end of camps, and then in the future ones, because you can come back throughout the years until you are 18, these moms and kids are looking for campers they've been with before, individuals they can spend time with, that they want to spend at that camp again. So they'll come back around and show up again, and they get to hang out with these people and spend that time together and keep those close connections. So that's just a brief overview of these camps. Mentors even go as far, we have mentors that have traveled to graduation ceremonies, birthday parties. They try to go back and spend more time. It's not just a one-off event. So they're taking the time to go through that. A few examples I wanted to give you that were rather profound to me, and I'm sorry if I'm being long-winded about the camp portion, but that's the environment we're in, and trust me, something's going to pour back into these facets and being a father. I had a couple of events that were really profound that we've had there. I had a young girl, 11 years old. We're doing range day, and when we do range day, we'll give a whole brief and we let the kids know this isn't a have-to event, this is a get-to. Nobody's forced to shoot if they don't want to. But I encourage them to, give it a try and see what it's like. And this one young girl, she's about 11, she was hesitant, fearful. I talked to her about it, explained to her how it was going to work, and we got on the range and just went through everything, the fundamentals of shooting and all these different, safety, range safety, how we're going to do this. And as most girls do, she actually listened, because the boys have played Halo and Call of Duty. They know everything there is about everything to do with guns, but the girls are actually listening, and they end up shooting much better than the boys usually. So, and she in fact does that. She really takes to it, and rather talented just with minimal instruction. So over the years, I see her camp after camp, and she's always excited to be at the range and get to shoot with us. In the last camp we go to, where she shows up, she comes up to me and explains to me that she's now on the state shooting team, that she's won a state championship shooting, and that she's enrolled in a college. They're giving her a scholarship to be on the shooting team. And, we're talking about one day a year that I got to spend with her. But the idea that the time we got to spend with her imparted a passion, it flicked on a flame that she's now taken through these years. It's just those brief moments, but experientially, it was just a moment in time that we spent together that trickles forward, not down. She's in the future having these great opportunities. I had another young camper, first camp, one of the first camps we ever did. He shows up, and we get the background on everybody before they show up. And this kid, his dad was in Operation Red Wing. He was a Navy SEAL that had passed during that. And a lot of people, I was immediately aware when I read it, because I had read the book, Lone Survivor, and then the movie's coming out. So Operation Red Wing was fairly familiar in my mind. I think it was before the movie, but post-book. So I was aware of what was going on. Young man shows up, just a great kid, and goes through this camp. And I'm excited to see him, because I look at his dad like he's just the ultimate of heroes. The guy's, legendary. I'm not going to give the name. That's his story to tell. Let him one day say that stuff. But the point being, I see him in camp 1, and then we go through year after year, multiple camps. I see him showing up. and everybody's paying attention and trying to spend time with him, pour into him. At the 18 years of age, he ages out of the program. He's no longer part of the camp. Next camp rolls in, and he's there, and I'm thinking, how is this possible? He's 18. He's come back volunteering, wanting to show up at camp and help the kids that are showing up now. And I see him probably 3 or 4 camps out of the year. He'll show up. It's like a celebrity. I'm just happy to see him. But he's grown in, I've watched him from a child into a mature adult. He's now married, just living a great life. But to see the results of everybody taking the time to mentor and spend time with him intentionally is just beautiful. And then lastly, we had a camp it was an early summer camp. It's pretty hot. And we're running the shooting range. And I was in SWAT at the time and still in K-9. And I got a page in the middle of the range. Everybody's shooting, we're well into it. And I get a page that I got to go to. It's some armed individual, he's off in the woods or in the cane field, and we need to use a dog to track him. So I tell some of the adults, I'm passing the baton here, you got to handle the rest of this, and I'm checking out. And I go to my car and getting my dog ready and getting dressed to go, and this about 7-year-old boy comes running over as I'm dressed about to get in, and my car door's open, and he runs up, climbs in the seat on me, gives me this big hug, and he says, "I love you." And then he says, "Please don't get hurt." And the "I love you" was so warming to have him say that, just because I spent a little bit of time with him and paid attention to him. And I don't know that he fully grasps the phrase "I love you," but he meant that was the best he had to give me. And then to tell me, "Please don't get hurt." The idea was heartbreaking to think he, at 7 years old, has the capacity to understand the gravity of what could possibly happen in the real world. I mean, all our kids, we shield them from that kind of violence or experience. I mean, at some point, everybody needs to come to terms with their mortality and the possibilities. But for a 7-year-old to be concerned about my well-being and wanting me to come back, it's very moving. I can tell you the experiences I've had with these children, they leave me walking away having received far more than I'm putting out. Far more. It's so rewarding. We have an honor at Op 300 to participate in the lives of these kids. And just as importantly, what an honor it is to participate in the lives of the children that God has given us charge of. We're still here, we're present, we're able, and we should take advantage of that. I look in some of these children's eyes and I see an intense need to connect. Almost without exception, to a varying degree, I see a need for fatherly direction, for someone to come alongside and coach them up, to give correction, to be consistent, to be caring, to hold them accountable to some standard. When that attention is received, they grasp onto it. The smallest amount, they gravitate right towards it. And they make a meaningful connection with you. When they don't receive this attention from us, the odds are so stacked against them that it's horrible. Here's just some statistics of an absent father. Fatherless children are 5 times more likely to commit suicide, 30 times more likely to run away, 20 times more likely to have behavioral problems, 14 times more likely to commit rape or be raped, 9 times more likely to drop out of high school, and 20 times more likely to end up in prison. Those are horrible. Especially, all of them are horrible. That first suicide rate, that's gone up considerably since these stats were put out. It's horrible, the degree. And I see it at work every day. I mean, I'm telling you anecdotally, I know it to be true from what I'm seeing. In the vacuum created by a father's absence, whether by choice or tragedy, children will find something to fill that with. They'll find a role model. The world is looking to prey upon that vulnerability. And in the vacuum that's left, they will fill it with lies. They will fill it with what they want to put in there for their benefit. They don't care about our kids. We must never neglect the opportunities we have to cultivate and pour into our children, which is done through these 6 pillars. All of these 6 pillars, and other speakers are going to break these down and be more intentional with each, but none of these are possible without us being present as fathers. We got to make ourselves present and intentional. All of these things require you to be present, complete in the moment with them. I think you spoke about it, not on social media, not checking emails, fielding phone calls, strategizing your next move, completely intentional and present in the moment. I say these things not as if I've accomplished them. I've justified not being present because I'm in law enforcement, right? I'm Superman. Y'all don't need to answer your phones because it's not that important, but I got to keep my phone on because I might get called out. It's life or death, right? I got to do, and you spend all these ways justifying never being fully present with the kids at the time. Never neglect the opportunity, the responsibility we have to spend time with our children. I can tell you from personal experience that I wish I had more. If I could go back, how much more I would do. If I only knew what I know now. With 20/20 hindsight, I see a lot of things that at 52, I can't get those times back. And when those 2 boys got married and moved out, it was rapid. It was quick. When it happened, everything was crashing in my mind. Emotionally, my best buddies, where are they at now? They got to get on with their lives. God bless them. I'm happy for them, but sad for me, right? You're never going to regret spending time with them. I can only go forward now, and I can take all the things I've learned and do it even better with my grandkids. That's why I love that 2-year-old, the opportunities to see him look at me. I'm still Superman in his eyes. When he looks at me and then he copies the things I do, he's so impressionable. And taking those opportunities to make sure whatever I'm impressing upon him is worthwhile, is of substance, making it better than I left it. I can also take what I've learned and pass it on to the children of fallen soldiers. One day you will look back and wish you've had even more opportunities with your kids. I guarantee you'll never regret or complain that you spent too much time with them. Be intentional and make that time. Nothing is more important. I appreciate my time with you guys. If anybody has any questions about Op 300 or any opportunities to help out with that and be a part of it, you can get with me afterwards. But I appreciate everybody's time. God bless.